going on, guys? Awkward here, back with another video, and we got a different one this time. If you can't already tell, before I was a YouTuber, I was a YouTube watcher, and I would say at the moment, probably my favorite YouTuber has been like over like these past couple years has been FD Signifier. He's someone who, beyond just providing entertaining content and commentary and video essays, has like changed my perspective in a lot of meaningful ways and has expedited a lot of my personal growth. Um, and so this video doesn't come out of me hating him. In fact, FD, if you're watching this, I live in Atlanta too. Please collab. You the goat. But I think that whenever he gets to talking about like newer rappers, and he self admits that he's an old head, I think that it's frustrating because he gets part of it right, but I think that he misses some things. And while I'm not in the weeds everywhere, I have like dedicated myself pretty thoroughly to understanding the new sound of New York. And so, like, I've learned a lot about the way that new rap operates. And also, I lived through it as a 22-year-old person. I lived through the 2010s. I lived through Drake and Future being the biggest people. So, like, and those being like my rap goats as opposed to the earlier, people. So, like, yeah. This video caught my eye. Normally, I like to, when it comes to like doing, like reacting to other YouTube videos, I like, there's a balance I have where I like to react to videos where there's some good and some bad. If it's all bad, I don't want to just be a D1 hater. And if it's all good, I'm gonna just be sitting there agreeing, nodding off to my head. With this one, Why Women Are Running Hip Hop Now, uh, I think that there's some good and there's some truth to what he said, but I think there's some context that he's missing, and I think there's some like cultural context that he's missing and some musical context that he's missing, that I think like I want to speak on a little bit because well we'll get into it. Um, so yeah, this, like I said, is FD Signifier B sides. I've been, man, like especially if you go watch some of my y'all know I'm definitely a big FD Signifier man. Let's get into it.
All right. This is probably going to be my most divisive old head take ever. To my younger audience members, just hear me out and forgive
That's
my
me.
inability to see
We're gonna hear you
what
out.
you see because of the, you know, time and age that are in my eyes. And don't take me too seriously. I am an old head. To my fellow old heads, let's keep things in perspective and not get too saucy in the comments or forget how bad we were in our youth. Remember, there's a Freaknik documentary coming out soon, a documentary that I'm definitely not in. Seriously, I was only like 12. Stop with that rumor. It's not true. Okay, so the health of hip hop has been a conversation over the past couple of years, and just like the fact that it feels like hip hop in the mainstream, so not your underground stuff, but like your top tier or allegedly top tier star rappers aren't as big of stars as they were 10 years ago, and that's
So this is actually the first thing that I want to speak on. And me and my friend were talking about this phenomenon, and this is the first place where I feel like there's a bit of a lack of nuance here. So, hip hop is, when people say hip hop is dying, I see what they mean, but it's not that clear cut. So, and me and my friend were speaking to this a few days ago. There is underground hip hop that is difficult to access and done by artists who probably couldn't run a valid tour. That is underground hip hop, right? And then there is mainstream hip hop. Now, when he says mainstream hip hop, what he's referring to is rappers in the public eye, rappers who have hit songs that are seen across multiple social media platforms and multiple in multiple different settings. like widely appealing rappers, right? Who again are in the public eye, who we hear about. However, there is a third category that has recently been growing bigger and bigger of what I have recently dubbed niche rappers, or I call big niche rappers, right? Where they put up numbers, but they don't feel centered, right? So, like for example, I live in Atlanta. Lil Baby is a mainstream rapper. If I play a Lil Baby song at a party, everyone will know it. That's what makes a mainstream artist, is when they're in the center of culture, where everybody comes together from different sides to see. But there is also niche, like big niche artists. He talks about JID. I think Playboy Cardi is that to a decent extent, but I think the best example of, in my opinion, a big niche rapper is Rod Wave. Rod Wave, go look at the numbers. Rod Wave sells comparable to Lil Baby. He sells comparable to Lil Baby. But because his music is not like as usable for like parties and outdoor settings, it's more music for the soul, for the inside. He doesn't feel as big as Annalie Choppa, as Lil Baby, but he is consistently selling over 200K. And so the first thing I want to point out here is that there's two ways to become like mainstream or big, right? There is, you go on TikTok, you drop your hit songs, and then you continually drop hit songs, and that gets you in the center of culture. That's what Ice Spice has done. That's what Anna Lee has done. To a certain extent, that's what Gunna has done. Then there is the fan base perspective, where you just organically build a fan base in a corner of hip hop or in a corner of music, and as you grow and your marketing improves, you just get better and better and better and better. Yeet is a great example of an artist, in my opinion, who started from a niche. He doesn't have any like massive hit song or anything like that. He just has this fan base in a certain corner of hip hop that grew and grew and grew and grew.
Like hip hop has been able to reproduce any new stars. Sales and streams aren't what they used to be. Concert attendance for newer mainstream artists.
He's right. If 2023 taught us anything, those artists have been pretty underwhelming. The artists at the center of the culture, where everyone from every niche is watching, those artists, besides the women, have been pretty underwhelming. He's right about that.
And hip hop just seems like it's being pushed aside by pop and Afrobeat, and the only rappers still seeing consistent success are rappers who are making less pop relevant music, like Jid or the guys and girls from Griselda, fucking Jack Harlow, and
the women.
So let me tell you how this video idea came about.
Okay.
It's new music on Friday, and I'm skimming through to see what's good, and I hear Lotto's Sunday Service song, and it's heat. Banger. I'm not a huge Lotto fan, but one thing I gotta give her is that among all the ladies who have entered the game in the last couple of years, she's probably the most proficient rapper and lyricist out that wave.
Facts. Lotto is one of my favorite rappers. I don't know why she ain't one of your favorite rappers, bro. She like, if you can't get past the, oh my God, they just talk about sex and scamming men, you are missing out. Lotto is one of the best rappers, one of the best rappers on a technical level that we have right now, and she's dropping good music. There's a reason why we do not want to see Ice Spice and Lotto go back and forth, and it is not for the sake of Lotto. Lotto is a menace on the mic.
Shit went hard. That detail is important, by the way. Then, after that, in the mix, one of these new little young niggas came on. One of the three-letter rappers who I definitely didn't have to look up after the fact. And I I say that partially as a joke, but also honestly because one of the things I realize about the new Lil Young niggas is that almost all of them sound alike right now. The influence of Kanye, Future, and Drake has truly got a lot of these next gen rappers in a chokehold because almost all of the major stars in hip hop right now are doing this
I'll let him cook the whole
sing-songy
thing.
auto-tune triplet flow. And I know I'm an old head, but it's getting old to me. When I say that I really can't tell the difference between Gunna, Lil Baby, NLE Choppa, Yeet.
Okay. So we named a lot of different people there. Lil Baby and Gunna, I will give you because they were both direct spawns of Thug, and in my opinion, especially Gunna, haven't meaningfully broken away from his sound to do something entirely different, right? Like, we can draw an influence between Cardi and Thug, but Cardi eventually broke out and would pop out with different production, different kinds of vocal inflections, different ad libs. His voice doesn't literally sound the same as as Young Thug. I feel like Lil Baby and Gunna, I love their music. I love Lil Baby, or at least I used to love Lil Baby. And I love both their music, but I'm not gonna delude myself into thinking that they're any semblance of original. I don't really see how NLE Choppa sounds like Gunna, and I don't see how Gunna sounds. Well, I don't see how NLE Choppa sounds like Yeet. I don't even think there's much crossover in any of their fan bases between, again, Gunna and Lil Baby. Like, when we talk about production, when we talk about like vocal tone and what is most emphasized in their music, like NLE Choppa is like a Memphis gangster rapper. Yeet is like Lil Uzi with a deeper voice. Like, it's not, like I said, and maybe you could maybe draw a comparison between Gunna and Yeet if you wanted to, although I think Yeet's production is far more interesting, especially recently. But like saying that, I mean, putting NLE Choppa don't even do a bunch of crooning. I don't really like get this. I don't understand, and I'm not even, mind you, I don't even think like, what's going on, y'all? Aqua here. My bad. So as y'all saw, the video froze. I didn't notice it until I finished recording, so I'm just gonna restart. This is pretty annoying, but it is what it is. Got to give y'all quality content. Can't have my face freezing for the whole video. So let's get back into it. As I was saying, like, this, I don't even want this to come off as like a defense of NLE Choppa. I think the quality of NLE Choppa's music, particularly his hit songs, have decreased dramatically over the years, and songs like Slut Me Out don't and Hot in Here do not compare to songs like Shot of Flow and Camelot. But even with that being said, I struggle to find any similarity between Yeet and NLE or Gunna and NLE. Maybe you could argue that like Lil Baby and NLE have similar fan bases, but even then, I wouldn't argue that they sound the same really at all. Yeah.
They all sound so similar to me, but more significantly, they all sound, and I don't want people to get the wrong idea when I say
We're gonna hear you out. We're gonna hear you out.
they all sound soft. And I want to be clear, this is not some endorsement of the regressive effeminization of black man rhetoric here. I don't mind soft, and I'm a fan of plenty of soft music. Further, hip hop has always had the capacity for softness. Well before Drake, there was Arrested Development, PM Dawn, many
talk that
others,
shit, talk,
rappers like
yep.
LL Cool J would
These
purposely
goats.
vacillate between softer sounds and more traditional hip hop. Andre 3000 brought us plenty of softness in his later years, and then just came back with a whole album of flutes. So that's an issue by itself, but it does mean that a certain essence from hip hop is missing from the men rapping who are those mainstream figures right now. See, after I heard the new Lil Young Nigga song, this new Glorilla came on, and I swear I was transported to 1999. It was listening to some Project Pat in a football locker room. It goes so hard, and this song has been in heavy rotation for me since. And then it hit me. The new Lil Young Niggas.
I'm sorry, this is probably like crazy. What's it called? Because he's about to say something. I like NLE Choppa just feels like a weird example here. It does. Like NLE Choppa doesn't go hard. Like Gunna, I'll give you, but like, have y'all heard Final Warning?
And the warning 76 to sting like a bumblebee. He start transforming. See your homies on the drip, but they ain't never make it back. Shoot up this game, we left it flat. He died on the impact.
Have y'all heard like Shadow Flow? Shadow Flow goes harder than like F and F. Like, what do we? If anything, like Glorilla and NLE from Memphis sound more similar than NLE and Yeet ever did.
Don't know how to rap,
Okay.
but the ladies do.
Okay.
Think about it for a second. While Young Thug and Lil Uzi Vert were
Okay.
stars doing that singy thing in our ears, and to be clear, making some amazing music. I like both of those artists. The women who were still trying to fight for the one spot that hip hop had for them at the time were learning how to bar, or at least working with men that wrote real bars for them. The generation of male rappers right now were listening to Future and Kanye, but the generation of female rappers right now were all inspired by Nicki's verse off Monster.
So he's right about this, and it's something like I believe is he's right about this, right? But there's an unforeseen consequence. But he's right. Generally, like when it comes to the females in the mainstream, they are stronger rappers at the moment. I'm talking about the female rappers who are dropping hits. And even the ones like Glorilla, in my opinion, who's not the strongest rapper, still finds her way lyrically, and we are listening to her for the lyrics, right? But, you know, Glorilla and Ice Spice aside, Megan, Lotto, Nicki, JT, whether she gets ghostwriters or not, Cardi B, they are giving us, even if it's not all like dense syllable stuff, they're giving you lines, they're giving you quotables in a way that like Durkio, Harlow, Gunna, Baby, recent baby, are just not giving you.
If you think about it, all of the female rappers, the main ones, are delivering bars. And yes, the bars are about shaking ass and getting money from men and ratchet stuff, but they're still being delivered with conviction and bravado and gravitas. They sound confident. They sound committed. They sound like a star putting on a show.
I say this 1,000 times if I have to. If the fact that women talk about like scamming niggas and like sex, if that is what turns you off to all women in rap, you are missing out on great music. You are. You are missing out on great music, and I feel if somebody can only be a good rapper when they're talking about coke and murder and like stuff like and being the best rapper. First off, I don't understand how those topics are any more interesting than like sex and scamming because I really don't get it. But also, y'all are missing out on great music, and I feel bad for y'all. I really do. If y'all can hear the greatness of a Benny the Butcher just rapping about coke, and I love Benny the Butcher, but y'all can't see the greatness in a Lotto or a Nicki Minaj. Y'all are missing out in my opinion.
Sound confident. They sound committed. They sound like a star putting on a show. That's the energy that made hip hop the major force it is or was. The fact that rappers came out and wanted to move the crowd and show that they were the best rapper, and further, they had to. Back in my day.
Yeah, I think here I'll let him flesh out this point, and then I think there's a couple of things here that perfectly encapsulate my issue with his logic, but also the issue with like what he said about the influence.
Could not become a big star without learning how to put on a great show first. Because the thing that got you on was a performance, maybe at a small club or a talent show or a cypher, or you might get a meeting with some record execs and they would just straight tell you in the meeting, okay, now rap. And you had to be ready to spit like your life depended on it. But because of discovery in these algorithms for these streaming services, there's a literal machine recommending what is and isn't good. And a lot of rappers never learn this skill of performing.
This is also true.
Really being
Rap performances
about their music, and it shows in how people talk about their concerts when they go. Or
rap performance is a bit of a dying art. I went to Tekka, and Tekka was great. There are some artists who are still doing a great job, in my opinion. But for the most part, artists like 21 Savage and Dirk, who I've seen both in concert, it's not, he's right about this.
When they don't want to go. And I want to be clear, there's good and bad to this old system versus the new system. It's not good that a lot of talented rappers were used and passed over by the old exploitative record industry. It is definitely good that some of those rappers can skip the industry system and go straight to the consumer today.
There is another unforeseen consequence, and here's my come down, like, big conclusion, like, issue or couple issues with this, like, premise and with this video. Number one, there was another disadvantage to forcing your stars to be able to rap, and like they have to be able to be good lyricists. That being that, and this goes into, like, I think the reason why newer rap fans gravitate towards the newer rappers is because back in the day, if we think about it from an artistic energy expenditure perspective, they had to designate a large amount of their energy to creating great bars. They had to designate that artistic energy to creating great bars. And therefore, the musical aspect of it, they weren't able to, literally from a time designation standpoint, they are not able to designate as much time to the music. And that doesn't mean that their music is bad, but it simply means that from the standpoint of depth, from the standpoint of melody, from a standpoint of song structure, they are not able to go as far because from a time perspective, they are expending far more energy doing lyrics. Now, some of you might try to bring up the exception of Kanye West, but in fact, Kanye West is the original proof of this phenomenon. Kanye West, compared to his contemporaries, said, I'm going to put less time into making sure my bars are perfect and amazing. Hence why he had ghostwriters. Hence why he has that, like, constipated flow at the end of, like, some of his bars where he has to, like, fit in enough syllables. Hence why he was seen during his time as, like, not the craziest rapper. But by shifting the focus away from, like, insane bars, he was able to put more focus on the music. He was able to put more focus on the production, on the melodies, on the sample selection, right? And so you get an album like Late Registration where, sure, like, well, I think the rapping on that album is crazy, but, like, compared to, like, maybe Jay-Z or Biggie, the rapping isn't as insane, but you get more in the way of, like, you know, musical experience, right? And this is where a lot of new rappers fall into. And again, this is why I wish he would have, like, talked to younger people about why they like the music that they like. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, there's a sizable chunk of people who don't need good bars to enjoy music. And they are, like, they enjoy, they have gotten used to somebody taking more time to, like, make sure that the music is creative and different and, you know, depth and and deep and all that stuff, as opposed to the lyrical content, right? And so generally, like, I think Yeat, like, out of the people we talked about, Yeat is, like, a great example of an artist who, like, yes, Yeat may not be able to rap, But Yeet is not a bad hip hop artist because what he does with his production, what he does with all his other stuff, with his melodies, right, makes up for it, right? And this is also where I'm gonna take. I'm surprised he didn't sort of think about this, but like this is also where the Nicki Minaj influence kind of comes at a crossroads, right? Because yes, there are women who are rapping extremely, extremely well. But from an energy expenditure standpoint, they are expending more energy to make sure that they have good and memorable bars. And what has now happened, and the main critique of like mainstream female rap, is that from a musical perspective, it's repetitive. And I'm not saying that all women in the game sound the same. However, there is definitely a lack of diversity sonically amongst the women compared to the men, in my opinion. When it comes to like what blows up in terms of beat selection, in terms of song structure, in terms of even in terms of lyrical content, like women in the mainstream for the most part have like a couple of modes. Now we're finally with people like Doja Cat, we're finally kind of seeing us expand out of that, right? And like Megan, becoming more personal in her lyrics. We're seeing an evolution. We're seeing that branch off. But the issue with there only being one influence is, or the detriment of there only being one influence, is that there's not as much diversity because they don't have as many artists to pull from. Compare that to the men, where there are so many different paths to becoming mainstream. There's a whole path that you can choose that's just drill based off Chief Keef. There is a like Soul Chops conscious gospel crowd that you can do just based off Kanye. There's a Drake soft boy, I talk about girly girls, all that stuff. There's a way to become mainstream. There's the Future and Young Thug layer, the trap, right? Those are four entirely separate ways of becoming mainstream. And we see artists who have chosen those different spots who sound nothing alike. But with women in the mainstream, and I want to be clear when I say this, I'm not saying that there are not women who are making diverse music. What I'm saying is that the sounds that have been accepted into the mainstream, and really I'm looking at more of like an audience perspective, the sounds that are like the sounds from women that are accepted in the mainstream are far smaller than the amount of sounds accepted in the mainstream for men. And part of that has to do with male privilege and the expectation of like women under a patriarchal society. But yeah, it's the fact that like yes, Nikki Force, pushes women to like rap and all that stuff, but it doesn't necessarily, that's not always a good thing. Again, because think about it like this, right? What female artist, what woman artist do you know where her lyrics don't matter, where she can simply just catch a vibe? There is no one like that because women have not been given the space to exist in those lanes in the same way that men have. I hope that makes sense.
Of the fact that I found Kenny Mason, one of my favorite rappers of the last few years that I talked about.
Kenny Mason fire, Kenny Mason fire.
But I found dude off a random YouTube ad. I had no idea who he was. He just popped up and then suddenly, oh, this is my new favorite rapper. Another example of this that's not technically a rapper, but Tizo Touchdown went from a viral video that most people took as a joke to being one of the biggest new artists of the last year, touring and doing songs with Drake and Tyler the Creator and all kinds of other people. But to be clear, those also are not mainstream figures who are supposed to be the big stars in hip hop that we kind of don't have today. The biggest stars today are Cardi, Megan, Ice Spice. She kind of throws. We
ain't gotta mention it. We ain't gotta mention it. We love you, Ice Spice, but don't worry about it.
Right. But my point is, aside from the musty, scaring the hoes type rappers that I'm always on the check for, and older mainstream acts like Kendrick, Cole, 21 Savage, etc., the new people I check for are these new women. because they are rapping with the essence and intensity that I'm used to in hip hop. While so many of the young men are all, again, doing this passive, drowned out sounding stuff that I'm sure might hit different in some capacity. Maybe if you're inebriated or on these different pills and drinks that they say they do in their songs. But like,
again, this is why when we do these videos where we're covering cultures and musical styles that we are not as familiar with or that we don't understand, it's as simple as just asking the people in your community why they enjoy this thing. We don't have to like be taking some type of drugs or doing some type of craziness. Like, we just enjoy like the musical side of what they do, the way that their voice interacts with the production, the way their unique vocal inflections or vocal melodies, the soundscapes that they're able to create throughout their albums. These are the things that we get from these artists, and it's something that we're not always going to get from a Griselda record or from a Logic record or from a Big Sean record, right? Great lyricists, great artists, but we're not going to get the world building that we see on Rodeo or Astroworld. We're not going to get the high-pitched, insane vocal inflections and the like boom blasting, like blasting production that we get from Playboi Carti.
are y'all getting the party going to this?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Are you what? Are you crazy? Shout out my label, that's me. I'm gonna be with you. Yo, we are absolutely getting the party lit a little bit. Bro, go to bro, not go to a, don't go, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta go to a function, but like, bruh, I go to Morehouse, bro. The amount of like people who go crazy when freestyle comes on. I remember almost dying in a mosh when we played OK, bro. That's a Gunna song. And we went insane. I'll play some clip. I went to a Tekka concert recently, and I think Tekka would definitely fall under the soft moniker that he's like referring to. There's like a clip of people going crazy, but like in a Tekka concert, 500 pounds was a moment. Holy Moses, 500 pounds was a moment. But I'll play some clip. Y'all see it.
When y'all are lifting weights, do you turn on Moneybagg Yo?
Absolutely. I just looked at my wrist. I got time today. Cause I'm crossing the line today. Absolutely. Moneybagg Yo is Moneybagg Yo can rap. Moneybagg Yo is a better rapper than Glorilla. Let's not do that. Come on, bro. Let's not do that. Moneybagg Yo is a better rapper than Glorilla. Let's not do that. You know what I'm saying? Look, bro. Moneybagg Yo, Moneybagg Yo. Huh? Let me say something. Bro. Moneybagg Yo tough, bro. I don't know what you. I absolutely got that man in my workout playlist. Absolutely. And again, there's a whole subgenre of drill music that I love to work out to. So like, yeah. Hell, I'm a little bit crazy for this, but I worked out to some Gunna before. Not some solo Gunna. I don't think I've ever worked out to like a solo Gunna track, but I have I've worked out to like Too Easy, Underdog, Drip Too Hard, like Sold Out Dates, Life Goes On. I've run out some Gunna. I'm definitely working out some Yeat, and you know what's crazy? I'll say this, I will work out to some Yeat before I will work out to some Griselda. Swear to God. I will work out to Poppin' and Out the Way before you will ever hear me play New York State of Mind in the gym. So this thing about like, oh, they're not hard because they can't rap, and I don't want to like put those words in his mouth necessarily. I feel like it's what he's implying, but I don't know if it's fully what he's saying. But like, no, That's not true. There's plenty of extremely hype music that is done by rappers who can't rap. I would rather work out to Playboy Cardi than Jay-Z any day of the century. And I'm not saying that Jay-Z is worse. He's not. But again, like, hypeness is there. And it doesn't need to come because they're good rappers. But Moneybagg Yo's a better rapper than Glorilla. Let's not do that.
I'm not judging you if you do. I'm just saying, I feel like Annie Up was a much more enthusiastic type of song.
It might have been. It might have been.
I can't play them on YouTube, but if you know what I'm talking about, you should know the difference. And again, this is only within the element of that mainstream top tier trap realm. There is still so much good hip hop out there. I am not saying that. I'm enjoying that. But I feel like guys like Gunna and NLE Choppa and whoever else were supposed to be the next wave, the next people up, and it feels like they fumbled away their spots. The music.
And again, I think it's also weird because like I feel like he doesn't have an understanding of where these people are like currently at in their careers. NLE Choppa, I agree. Like I don't think I ever saw NLE Choppa as next up necessarily, but like to take like I never saw him taking like a top 5 position in the 2020s decade, but like he had a decent amount of like centralized success and his musical quality has taken a dip. Lil Baby definitely, but Gunna's last album was insane. And the album before that, while I didn't like it, sold really, really, really well. And Yeat, did y'all hear 2093? Did y'all hear 2093, bro? That album was insane. I ain't even finished it yet, but that album was insane. I feel like Yeat is doing his thing.
It's too passive, too soft to get people excited about hearing it. And again, I'm not saying it's soft because of skinny jeans or some dumb shit. The lyrical content hasn't changed at all. It's still drug talk, street talk, etc. It's the same lyrical content that I listened to 20 years ago, but they just sound fucking bored. They sound like they're not interested in what they're talking about. So why should I be interested in what they're talking about? Like, imagine if I had, did my whole YouTube videos and it was like, this is the FD signifier, and this is the light work. I want you to like and share, subscribe about it, and buy me a t-shirt. Like,
I don't get this point. Like, Gunna, yes. I will give you, Gunna makes chill music. Right. I'm going to give you that. Valid. But, and this is so, actually, there's 2 ways I'll go about this. One, Lil Baby and NLE just are not boring rappers in my opinion. If you like for Lil Baby, like recently, but especially like 2020 Baby, he has extremely passionate performances. And NLE Choppa goes hard as hell. I don't understand where NLE Choppa falls in this equation. Have y'all heard Camelot? Have y'all heard Walk 'Em Down, bro? What are we doing here? And this is the thing. Notice how he's saying if the rapper sounds bored, right? When he thinks about is the song exciting or boring, his main focal point is the lyrics because that's what he understands as making the song exciting. Yeat sounds bored when he's making the music. Correct. However, Yeat's music is not boring. Because his beat selection, his auto-tune, his Yeat songs, especially recently, sound more like journeys than they do songs.
Jumbo had the soul, Jumbo had the soul. Had to turn my flow, yeah, had to change the tone. Had to turn my diamonds, yeah, they smaking head to tone. About what you saying, yeah, just shut up and let me.
With this, like, directionless beauty that he's been giving us. So, like, that's the thing is that rappers and hip-hop in general have found ways to be entertaining outside of quality lyrics and bars. They have found ways to be exciting outside of like lyrics and bars.
I'm just saying, imagine if I did my videos with the same amount of energy that they do their songs. Nobody would care about my videos.
Hey man, if you had a rage beat over it, it might go crazy.
Like I care about my videos, but that's how these new little young niggas sound. They sound like they don't care, but Jid cares and Lotto cares. Ice Spice, bless her heart. She been hanging out with Taylor Swift. I'm sure there's a bag there somewhere. Because until she learns another flow, I don't know how much longer we got with you, girl.
We're going to have on Y2K.
But again, as I always say, there's plenty of good hip hop to focus more on. But if you want the days back where hip hop dominated all of pop culture, y'all gonna have to demand more of these bigger stars in the game and have them come out of their soft life era and hit the booth with some intensity.
And this is the thing, I don't think, like, I think the death of hip hop is a really complex topic that, like, is like sort of multifaceted and is broken down in a lot of different ways. I don't think that simply rappers rapping with more intensity or with more energy or rappers rapping better is gonna fix rap necessarily. It might help. It would be cool if there were, like, I would love to see people like Baby and Ali improve, and Dirk improve their pen. But, like, I think that the downfall of I think that the downfall of rap is kind of in what he said, but I think it's like part of the problem is, like, and I agree with Patrick CC, like, the way that we engage with music is different. Like, we and I personally have become more comfortable with the idea that, like, maybe the big niche style, like artists with just massive niches, maybe that's the new version for hip hop, right? Maybe that's how, like, artists sell well again, is just developing massive organic fan bases. Um, and I would be okay with that. But I don't necessarily believe that that would, like, fix the problem. I think that, artists making shorter albums, I think artists having higher artistic standard in general would do a lot. But again, even artists having higher artistic standard isn't just about their rapping. So yeah, I don't I think what he's saying and, like, his suggestion would definitely make rap more interesting, but would it claw it out of this era of, like, rap hits not feeling like hits? I don't know.
I'm FD Signifier, and this has been Light Work.
This is just to add. Let me know what y'all thought of this in the comment section below. I really enjoyed this video, and I thought it was really interesting. Like I said in the beginning, I like to talk about videos that have some good and some bad, and I think this video has a decent amount of value. But I did want to, like, give some extra context and provide my own commentary because I think there's something interesting here to talk about. And yeah. Like I said, FD Signifier, if you're watching this, I'd love to collab with you. You're definitely probably one of my favorites at the moment. Definitely in terms of the political and, like, video essay space, definitely my favorite one. With that being said, peace, y'all.